Hi guys! Today we're going to be hauling all the books I got in September. So September is my birthday month, so I got quite a few books as gifts this month and then also some birthday money to spend on books, so figured I'd share all the books that I hauled this month with you guys. Starting off with probably my most anticipated release of the year and a gift from my lovely boyfriend, that is Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I loved House in the Cerulean Sea last year, so when I saw he was coming out with the book this year, I knew I had to have it. And this seems to deal a bit more with death, and I'm curious to see how TJ Klune sort of tackles that in his sort of whimsical way. This follows a man named Wallace, and he was kind of a jerk in life, and he has recently died at sort of a young-ish age, and he gets collected by a reaper and told he only has a certain amount of time to sort of cope with his death and move on to the afterlife. And during that time, he ends up, I believe, befriending and possibly following in love with the ferryman who's supposed to bring him to the afterlife. And I just think that sounds so charming. Curious to see how this is, and I think it'll be a great fall read. So I'm so excited to get this one, and thank you so much to my boyfriend Zach for getting it for me. Next up, we have a couple gifts that I got from my mom, and the first one is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. I recently read Priory of the Orange Tree and absolutely loved it, and I know this is part of her, very long fantasy series. I don't know a whole lot about it, other than that our main character is clairvoyant in a world where clairvoyance is illegal. So I'm not really quite sure what the overall plotline is beyond that. The blurb at the top says, for the past 200 years, the Scion government has led an oppressive campaign against unnaturalness in London. So I'm very curious to pick this up and see how she has approached her other works aside from Priory, and I've heard great things about this series, so I'm so excited to get to this one. And my mom loves witches, so I was not surprised to see that she got me Spells Trouble by PC Cast and Kristen Cast. And I don't know a whole lot about this other than it has to do with witches. The subtitle seems to be Sisters of Salem. And I don't know, this one was on my wish list, but I don't know what it's about. I know it's YA, and it has to do with twins, Hunter and Mercy. They're witches, direct descendants of the founder of their own town of Goodville. Their mother becomes the first victim in a string of murders, and the devastated sisters vow to avenge her death, but it will take more than magic to rein in the ancient mythological monsters who've infected their peaceful town. Really excited to get to this one. I don't know if it's a series or not, but I am curious, and I love that cover. I love witches. This will be a perfect autumnal read, so thank you so much to my mom for getting this for me. I'm so excited. She also got me the box set of the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, which is a much beloved YA fantasy series that recently just got republished with new covers that I think are absolutely stunning. This is the cover for the first one. That's the cover for the second one. Sorry, they're still in the box. And that's the cover for the third one. And they're just so gorgeous. I love the art on these. And I know that's not the best reason to get books, but I am really curious to see what this series is about. I know Laini Taylor is super popular. Her other series, Strange the Dreamer, the duology, is also really popular. I've heard her writing is enchanting, and I'm so excited to get to this. I believe it has to do with angels and demons and stuff, so I am very curious to see what this is about, and I'm so glad to finally have my hands on this. I've been kind of eyeing them for a while, so thank you so much to my mom for getting me the whole box set. I was also sent a couple books by a lovely subscriber, so thank you Forest Thieves, aka Nora, for sending me both In the Ravenous Dark by A.M. Strickland and The Tea Dragon Society by Katie O'Neill. I've already read The Tea Dragon Society, and this is pure serotonin. This is the perfect soft, fuzzy read. The character design alone for the dragons is just so cute. They're all different types of tea dragons. So you have a chamomile tea, and that one's my favorite, so that's the one I remember the most. There's a green tea dragon, a ginseng dragon, a jasmine tea dragon. They're so cute, and I think this just got its third or fourth volume published, so I'm really eager to pick those up. This won the Will Eisner Award too, which is a really big deal for graphic novels, and it's just the cutest freaking thing I've ever read, so thank you so much, Nora, for this. And this is another book that was on my wish list that I don't know a whole lot about, other than I think there's like a polygamist relationship, which is something I haven't really read about, which I think would be really interesting. But again, I don't know like the whole plot. So let me look at the flap for a second. So it seems to be about a young woman named Rovan, and her father died to keep her from being assigned to guard undead spirits. So she's hidden her magic, but she accidentally reveals her powers to save a life and becomes bound to one of the undead and thrust into a world of palace intrigue and deception. Desperate to regain her independence, Rovan still finds herself falling in love with two people she can't fully trust. Lydia, a beguiling and rebellious princess struggling against her identity, and Ivrilos, the handsome, powerful spirit with the ability to take control of Rovan body and soul. So yeah, we have a bit of like a queer polygamist relationship going on, which is interesting. Ooh, the spine on the Naked hardback is pretty. Nora, who sent this to me, said she recently read this and loved it, so I'm really excited, and I think like this gives very creepy, dark vibes, and as if I didn't already have enough to read in October, I'm kind of hoping to pick this one up maybe if I have time, because it looks so good. So thank you again so much, Nora, for sending me these. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Next up, from my best friend Stephanie, who's been on this channel several times, I got the Inheritance of Arcadia Divina. This was also a recent Book of the Month choice, which is like what put it on my radar, and it sounds so enchanting. It's like a magical realism book. There's a woman named Arcadia Divina who invites her whole family to her own funeral, in which she turns into a tree and like bequeaths magical powers on her descendants. So I think that sounds so bonkers, but in like a really enchanting way, and I'm really excited to see how that all plays out. So it seems like a hidden figure begins to sort of take out members of their family tree one by one in order to destroy Arcadia's line. So I'm so curious to see what this is about, and I so appreciate Stephanie giving this to me. I think it sounds so good, and thank you so much. Stephanie also got me Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty while we were out shopping. She picked it up and I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, because it was a really good deal. It was only like $5 or $6 at the bookstore we went to. And I have the, what's the first one? City of Brass? Yeah, I have City of Brass. I've been kind of slowly collecting the series, like as I find good deals on them, and where this one was like $5, I was like, oh my gosh, and I was gonna buy it for myself, but Stephanie was like, no, it's for your birthday. So she got this for me, and I'm so thankful. I'm really excited to start this series, and with series, I prefer to have like at least the next one lined up, so if I do start reading it and really love it, I have the next one ready to go. So this will come in handy, and I'm so excited. Thank you so much, Stephanie. Next up, we have a stack of books that I either got like before my birthday or with birthday money. So I'm gonna start with The Serpent Shadow by Rick Riordan. This I found at my local Bull Moose, which I've talked about that chain of bookstores quite a lot. I love that place, and they have really good pre-owned books. So I found this one for $6, and then I also had points and store credit, so the points made it like $3, and then I used store credit, so I basically got this for free. But I'm so excited because this, I believe, is the third and final book in the Kane Chronicles series. I've only ever read the first one, and I picked up Throne of Fire recently, so I would like to, now that I have all three books, read those. I really enjoyed the first one when I read it, and I do love all the other books I read by Rick Riordan, so I've always loved Egyptian mythology, and that's what this series kind of focuses more on, that pantheon rather than the Greek and Roman gods. So I think this will be a really exciting read, and I'm pretty sure it's just 3 books. I might be missing one, but not sure. And in any case, this was a great find. It's literally in perfect condition. I'm not sure it's ever been read before, and when it comes to like children's and middle grades books, it can be really difficult to find used versions in good condition just because the nature of children. So this was a great find. I'm so excited to finally have this in my collection. Next up are a couple romances that came out this month that I just could not wait to read, so I picked them up myself. One of those is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is a sort of co-workers fake dating to real dating romance following a young PhD student named Olive and a professor named Adam. It started its life as Star Wars fanfiction, as you can probably guess from the cover, but I'm not mad about it, and in fact, it made it all the more charming for me. I loved this book. I've already read it. I read it in one sitting, I think the day that I got it. So actually, it was 2 sittings, but like in less than 12 hours. So I flew through this book. I loved it so much. This has been talked about a lot on both BookTube and Book Talk lately, so I'd be surprised if you haven't heard of it. But yeah, this was so good, and I gave it 5 stars, and I'm so happy to have this in my romance collection. It's definitely one of my new favorite romances, and I can see myself going back to it like as a comfort read again and again, because this was just so cute. And the other romance is The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling, and this just came out, and also I picked it up, read it immediately in like 2 sittings. And this is like the perfect like Halloween October read, especially if you like sort of witchy romances and stuff. This was just adorable. This follows a woman named Vivian, and 9 years prior to the start of this book, she placed a curse on the man that broke her heart, but it was a really like lighthearted, not serious thing. Like, she didn't think she actually cursed him, but when he returns to town 9 years later to recharge the ley lines that his family does every like couple of years, he finds that the curse is real and is starting to make his magic kind of go on the fritz and affect the town, and him and Vivian must team back up to figure out what's going on and how to stop the curse. And while doing that, sparks begin to sort of reignite between the two, and this was also really cute. I gave this one 3 stars. Again, perfect sort of October read, but I was more invested in like the mystery of the curse than the romance. And when I pick up a romance, I do want to be rooting for the couple, so this was fun, but it's not my favorite new romance, but it was cute, so I definitely recommend. Another new release that I just could not wait to pick up is Lake's Edge by Lyndall Clipstone, and this is giving me like Crimson Peak vibes, haunted house, gothic. I love it. This cover alone is so gorgeous. This follows a young woman named Violetta who, her and her younger brother are sort of on the run, and this notorious man named Rowan, known as the Monster of Lake's Edge, discovers her brother's magic and offers her a risky offer, refuge at his Lake's Edge estate in exchange for her brother's powers. So I believe this is like kind of enemies to lovers, maybe. She's also trying to figure out like why this guy is known as a monster. I'm not quite sure. Again, I saw the cover and pretty much knew I had to read it, so I don't know a whole lot about this, but again, like, I don't have enough to already read this month. This would be great to get to if I can squeeze it in, because I think this would be a perfect October read, and I'm really excited to finally have this one. This was a really anticipated release for me, so I had to go out and get it like immediately. This next one is a book I found in a used bookstore recently, and that was a really exciting find because this is pretty new, and that is Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Baker, aka Sean McGuire. This is sort of a spin-off of her novel Middle Game. I believe it's a children's story that is mentioned within Middle Game, and where I plan to read that this month, I did really want to pick this up in order to read either right after or closely following Middle Game. I'm not sure how closely related it is, like thematically, or if it was just sort of like a fun little like expansion, but I'm really excited, and it's a short little novella. It's like it's just over 200 pages actually, so I'm excited to get to this one, and it was a great find at a used bookstore. I also picked up Bubble by, just has their last names, Morris, Morgan, Cliff, and Reese. I have heard this described as kind of like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer-ish graphic novel, and I was sold because I like young women who beat up monsters, I guess. And it follows a young woman whose name is Morgan, and she lives in a bubble of a town named Fairhaven that's like protected from monsters, and she goes out and I guess attacks them or like hunts them down. So I think that's a fun concept, and the art looks really cool. It's very like vivid and colorful, but like also in the monster hunting bits pretty moody looking, and yeah, I don't know, I'm really excited, and it feels like a nice sort of graphic novel to pick up during the Halloween season. I don't know if this is a standalone or a series. It is pretty long for a graphic novel, but I don't know a whole lot about it beyond just this one volume. So if anyone knows if this is gonna be a series, let me know. I would love to know. I was so excited when I found this next one because it is really difficult to find in hardcover. and that is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is a series I've been interested in forever, and I keep finding its sequel Shorefall in hardcover, but I haven't been able to find this one, and I did want to pick it up before I committed to buying Shorefall in hardcover because I like my books in a series to match. And this one I found for $10 at Bull Moose, and I snatched it up real fast because I have not seen it at all in hardcover yet. So I believe it was a pretty limited run when they did the first edition, so it's pretty much exclusively in paperback now. And I don't know a whole lot about this, but I know a lot of the people that I follow for like sci-fi fantasy book recommendations love this book. And I know it's like about a young thief, but she has like powers. Like the magic system in this is sort of like you can program inanimate objects to do things, which sounded so interesting. So let me see if I can read something out loud that gives a better idea of what the heck is about. So our main character has been sent to steal an artifact of unimaginable power, an object that could revolutionize the magical technology known as scriving. So I believe that's the programming thing. The merchant houses who control this magic, the art of using coded commands to imbue everyday objects with sentience, have already used it to transform, I believe, the city into a vast, remorseless capitalist machine. So it's a young woman trying to take down capitalism. Cool. But yeah, I just think the magic system sounds really cool. It sort of reminds me of the Bone Shard Daughter, where like in that book, she uses bone shards to sort of program these Frankenstein beasts with commands. So I think like scribing kind of reminds me of that a bit. So I'm really excited to get to this one. I've heard fantastic things about it. So hopefully sometime this fall I can pick this up because this is one of my most anticipated reads on my TBR. And even though my TBR for October is absolutely bonkers, for some reason, going to the bookstore, I keep getting drawn to this book, and it's because it's spooky season and I want to read something spooky, and that is The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. I have not read anything else by him, but he's a best-selling author of another book called Wanderers, so that's promising. This book is like a haunted house, and I pray to God that it is actually paranormal because I've talked about this before. I don't like the bait and switch of a paranormal premise, but like a real human behind it. And I believe this man goes back to his family house where like when he was a boy, he was abused by his father, and he moves his own family in there like decades later. But there are possibly ghosts. That's all I need to know. I'm excited. This is a chonker for a horror novel. It's just over 500 pages, so that's a pretty hefty read, I think, for a horror novel. I've seen this described as like literary horror as well, so I'm hoping this punches me in the gut when I do read it, because like I feel like a lot of the thrillers and horror ebooks that I've been reading have been like fun, but like haven't had a lasting impact, and I feel like this one might. I don't know. It seems promising. I'm excited, and I hope I love this, because my hopes are high. And the last book in this haul is one that I actually pre-ordered a few months ago when it was announced that all the pre-orders were going to be signed by the author, and that is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. Another book that would be perfect to read this month, but that I inevitably will not have time to get to. But yeah, I haven't read any Jay Kristoff yet. Nevernight has been sitting on my TBR shelf for a while, and I would eventually love to get to that one. This is his new release, obviously. And all I know is it is an epic vampire story, and it's bloody as hell, apparently. And one of the reasons I was also really intrigued by this novel is that it is illustrated as well, like heavily. There are several illustrations in this book. It's not just like once or twice. There are beautiful, beautiful, detailed illustrations, and oh my gosh, it's so gorgeous. And in the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition, the end papers are actually colored versions of some of the illustrations within the book, and I just think they're so gorgeous. So this is truly like an art piece as well as a novel. So, oh my gosh, they're so vivid and gorgeous. But yeah, this is like a really anticipated release. Again, I haven't read any Jay Kristoff yet, so I'm hoping I like it. I have been craving a good vampire story lately, so hopefully this does the trick. What a beautiful special edition, especially like for not a book box. It doesn't have sprayed edges or anything, but I do think it's still really special. And there's a signature right there, so I'm very excited. Hello, bonus video from Lexi from the future. I can't believe I forgot these, but I also got the Inkheart series from my Nana for my birthday. All the other books I kind of piled in one stack, and these ones, for whatever reason, I put right with the rest of my middle grade books, so they got sort of left out of the other part of the haul. But yeah, so I haven't read these. I do believe I've seen the movie for Inkheart, but I never read the books when I was younger, so my Nana really likes these and she thought I would like them too, so thank you so much, Nana. So yeah, that wraps up my September/birthday book haul. I am so excited to read all of these. Does anyone else just get like overwhelmed with like how much you want to read and like you just want to consume everything at once? Is that just me? I don't know. Like, I wish I had way more time to read, because I'm equally excited for pretty much all of these and I don't know what to begin with. So yeah, let me know down below. Have you read any of these? What have you thought? I would love to hear and kind of maybe let it sort of guide me into figuring out what I should read first. So thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment down below, and have a wonderful day.